for zombie plague. What are we gonna do?
I know. I'm in the second half of my Dawn of the Dead video and there's zombies all around the studio. I guess we just gotta break in and finish it.
Well, let's kick some zombie butt.
Alright, let's go. Cover me.
Nice one.
Thanks.
I can't believe we got out of there. Alright, you ready? Action.
Alright, what's up party people? It's your boy MC Popsicle, and today we're back at it again. We're talking about Dawn of the Dead Part 2. We're talking my boy Mike Christopher, the Hare Krishna zombie.
Popsicle, look out!
Hello, party people.
How you doing?
Good.
Good.
Very good.
Awesome. I'm really happy that you got to come on because you're a big deal. I don't know if you know that or not, but you were very well thought of. Like, I watched a bunch of videos and read a bunch of lists and stuff, and you come up quite often as one of the most iconic zombies of all time.
Yeah,
That's crazy. Like,
I know it is. Well, I'm the only Hare Krishna that was turned into a zombie in any of the movies.
why did they do that? Was that just something that Romero thought of, or what?
Well, back in the late '60s, there was a proliferation of that sect, that religious sect, and they used to stand on street corners in major cities, and they'd go to the airports and the bus terminals, and they would chant and sing their songs, and then they would try to get you to give them money for one of their books, and they had books and incense and stuff that you could give donations to, and it was a big deal back then. And Romero wanted a special looking zombie for that scene because it was a pivotal point in the movie. It's whenever Fran decides that if she's going to get out of there, she's going to have to take some responsibility for her own future and learn to shoot, and learn to fly the helicopter and stuff. And that interacting with my zombie is what changed her mind on all of that.
Did you have any connection? Did you know anything about Hare Krishna at the time?
Well, I used to run into him all the time, and I went out to on Sunday they had vegetarian feasts, and they would invite people to come out and talk to them and eat with them, and that way they could, talk to. I mean, what they were looking for was converts. They wanted people to join their religious experience.
Right. How did you get involved with Dawn of the Dead in the first place?
Well, our manager was Joe, the guy that was Martinez, the guy that comes out with the nickel-plated 45 at the beginning, and they blow him away. Yeah, he was the band's manager, and he knew the Lees brothers, Michael Lees and Lenny Lees. Lenny was the Machete Zombie, and Michael was heavily involved in behind the scenes and costuming and different other duties that he had with the movie. So we had worked with Michael Lees and Lenny Lees to do soundtracks and some acting in some of their art films. And between the two of those guys, somebody got our band's picture. I was in a band. Everybody in the band had a bald head, and somebody got our band's picture to George Romero, and he picked the saxophone player for the airport zombie. And he picked me for the Hare Krishna song.
Cool.
Yeah.
So
it was just a chance thing that we got on it, you know, because we were musicians, we weren't actors at the time.
So you didn't have any like hands in that world at all? Like you hadn't done anything before, any acting or anything like that?
No, we had done some music for the Lees brothers films. The band I was in was called Fluid, and we had done music for their films, but that was our connection into that, you know.
How long were you on set and working over there during the movie?
It was 3 nights. Well, 2 nights and 1 afternoon. The afternoon session was the session where we filmed the hideout stuff, and the 2 nights is where we got the establishing scenes with me walking around in the mall.
Mm-hmm.
And then the hallway scene where I'm almost ready to find the doorway, and then Flyboy comes running down the hallway. That was all filmed at the mall, and the hideout scene was filmed at George Romero's office building.
Right, yeah, because they had to build that part of it because that part wasn't there, and also the gun store was not part of it.
Yeah, the gun store was part of the mall now. And the ductwork was a prop too. It was constructed because they couldn't fit in the size of the ductwork that was going through the mall, and then plus they couldn't really take a chance letting people crawl through actual working ductwork, because if it got ripped down, it would have been a major problem, you know.
That probably.
But they needed to make it bigger anyway.
I'm kind of surprised they didn't, because from what I've read, it was kind of like a guerrilla warfare kind of movie. A lot of crazy stuff was going on.
Yeah, I missed most of that. I was only there for a very short time. I didn't even get to interact with George Romero much, because the mall stuff, he was way down at the other end of the mall, you know, a long distance away, you know, to get the long shots of all the zombies coming through the mall. So I barely saw him whenever he recorded my scenes where I was walking in the mall. And then with in the hideout, it was just camera moves, shoot the scene, camera moves, shoot the scene, camera moves, shoot the scene, camera moves, shoot. It was just like boom, 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 boom. Thank you very much. You did a really good job. And I was at the door.
Wow. Did you get to really interact with Tom Savini very much?
No, I didn't get to I didn't interact with anybody except some of the people, the zombies that I knew. When we were sitting around, we would sit around for hours at a time with our makeup on in one of the like conference centers or something in the mall. And it was just this big giant room filled with zombies. We just sit around drinking coffee and talking. We didn't have cell phones back then, you know. There's really nothing to do. So we just talk, and then some production assistant would run in and go, "Okay, I want you, come with me." And we'd get up and we'd go with them, and they'd position us somewhere in the mall, and you could see George all the way down at the other end, you know, looking through a camera with God, I forgot the guy's Michael Gornick. Gornick was the DP. So I saw a lot of them behind a camera, but I never got to interact with anybody.
Yeah, they had Tom Savini doing a bunch of the stunts and stuff, which is crazy. Like the guy that swings down off of like those little flags that swings down from the top floor. They said he swung and then like smashed into the wall and then fell off because they had just made that up during the scene. That's funny. So what stands out to you? Like, what do you remember most about shooting?
Well, I guess I guess just the surrealness of being in a shopping mall. I mean, I used to go to that shopping mall, and then all of a sudden it's all full of zombies. So that was really crazy, and but for me it all happened so quick. Like I said, I had two nights at the mall, and then one afternoon at the office. So it was just like a little blip, The whole thing was just a little blip.
Were you really aware of George Romero, like, at the time? Like, before that, did you know about his movies and stuff?
Oh yeah, because everybody watched Shore Theater, which was the Saturday night monster movie show on local television, and the host for that was Chili Billy Cardilli, and so can you hear me? Something just clicked in my earphone. You still hear? Okay. All right. So his daughter was actually the girl that played Lori Cardille. She played Day of the Dead.
Oh, okay.
The leading lady. But her dad was the horror host for the whole area, the tri-state area. And it was Pennsylvania, West Virginia, and Ohio, because that station, whatever station he was on at the time, it was a pretty powerful station. So he was well known throughout the whole tri-state area, and he used to play Night of the Living Dead all the time, and so from watching that show, we would. Everybody knew about Night of the Living Dead, but I didn't know anything about Dawn of the Dead. I didn't see a script. I didn't see any kind of a scene breakdown. I had no idea what I was doing when I walked there.
Well,
they just brought me up into the room. What?
So he was like the guy you're talking about. He was kind of like Elvira or something like that, like one of those type of people.
Yeah, kind of. Yeah, he was a horror host, and he used to bring all the horror movies to the one of the big channels in Pittsburgh.
Cool. I feel like that is I should have been born in that time, because that is exactly what I would want to do. I wish that they did that. That's really cool. So, what was your ideas for playing a zombie? Like, what were you thinking during your scenes?
Well, like I said, I wasn't an actor at the time. I was a musician. So when I was trying to get ready for my part, I remember it was the first night at the mall, and I go, what am I gonna do? Because I thought when I got there they would be telling me something about what to do, and nobody said anything. So I figured, okay, I'm gonna have to get into character myself here. So as luck would have it, there was a security guard up on the upper level. I took a walk, and I was up on the upper level. And he said hi to me. He knew the zombies were in the mall, so he figured I was just another zombie. He goes, "Hey, you want to buy some incense?" He says, "No, man, I don't have a wallet on me. I leave my wallet in my locker." I says, "Come on, man, it's only $1. It's cheap." He says, "No, I can't. I don't have any money on me because I leave my wallet in the locker." I didn't have any incense anyway. I was just seeing if I would be a convincing Hare Krishna,
That's funny.
So yeah. So we talked for a minute, and then he, tried to get him to buy some more incense, and he wouldn't go for it. And I started getting abusive. Like, come on, man, you have a job. I know you're $1. He says, "No, really, man, I want your incense, but I don't have any money on me. I don't have my wallet on me. It's in my locker." Like, we're all the same, and I threw my hands in the air, and I started walking away. And he starts following me. He goes, "No, man, really, I want some of your incense, but I don't have any money on me." So it's funny because I knew at that point that he really thought I was a Hare Krishna, But what I had done is I had turned the tables, because the Hare Krishnas would chase people down the street trying to get money from them. And here I had turned the tables where I had the people chasing me trying to give me money.
That's funny.
So
yeah.
So I figured I'm ready. I'm ready.
Yeah, I didn't think Hare Krishnas would be like, "Hey, butthole, you buy the incense right now." That's funny. So, did you have any idea what kind of impact the movie would have? Did you feel like it was a big deal at the time?
Well, at the time, it was just something cool that I was interested in. After I left the band I was in, I went to electronics school. And then I got a job working for a company called Laserium. And I used to do light shows with lasers at the planetarium in Pittsburgh. And then right after my first semester, which is a little bit after Dawn of the Dead premiered, right after my first semester, I got a job to relocate out to Los Angeles. So I moved out there and I told people that I work with, I said, "Hey, I was in this movie, Dawn of the Dead. It was a really big deal." And I said, "Can I get some movie jobs out here in Los Angeles?" And he said, "Do you have a speaking part?" I said, "No." They said, "Well, if you didn't have a speaking part, you probably won't get any jobs because you have to have a SAG card to get into movies in Los Angeles." This is like 1979, 1980, you know, and there's no people running around with video recorders and stuff. You know, anything that had to be shot was done on 16 or 35 millimeters, especially in Los Angeles, you know. So if you didn't have a SAG card, you're out of luck. They said that was just some movie that happened in Pittsburgh. You know, nobody cares about that out here. So I didn't really pursue it any further. And then I had the DVDs and I had VHSs and stuff, but I really didn't have much connection with anybody back in Pittsburgh. So I didn't really know about horror conventions until the 30th anniversary, which is 2008. 2007, I got a link to a pre-order to my action figures. Somebody said, "Hey man, look at this! They've got action figures for your character." I said, "Wow, that's cool." And you know, it's like, guess I should look into getting some, you know.
Yeah.
But that's all I knew at that point, you know.
It's crazy. See,
Mm-hmm.
I interviewed the guy Ari Lehman. He played Jason Voorhees in the first Friday the 13th, and that had no idea. Like, that movie was not expected. No one expected great things from that movie. So he was just some kid. He was a little kid at the time, and then it just blew up. And then he still has benefited in a major way from that movie. So it's really interesting to me, because especially with stuff like this where you have, I guess in no movie you have any idea, but these like super ridiculously iconic movies, people are like, "Yeah, spend a Saturday over there," and now you know, the rest of my life I'm trying to talk to me. It's really crazy.
Yeah, I did my first horror convention like at the 30th year anniversary stuff. That's when I did my first one, and I had no idea that any of that was going on. This guy, a guy from out in California, called me, and he found my mom because I used my family name. Christopher is my stage name or my alias, and I used my family name. And he found my mom through the phone book, and he called her and asked if she could connect me up with him, and so she got his phone number, gave it to me, and I called him back. And his name's Bill Philpott, and he took me out to a whole bunch of horror conventions for the first year, and then after that he just kind of shambled off. He's still doing Days of the Dead conventions, and he's doing representing some of the horror celebrities at these conventions, but I really don't run into him very much anymore. I really don't even do conventions anymore. I don't fly. And I live in Florida, and there's not too many places you can drive to when you live in Florida.
Yeah, everything's like 2 days away.
Yeah, well, it takes 6 hours to get out of the state from where I live. So.
Ooh, you're far down there. Did you enjoy doing the my brain just shorted out.
Yeah, wait till you get to be my age.
The horror conventions. Did you like it?
Oh yeah, I loved it, but I just don't fly anymore.
Yeah. How was the response of the people, like when they got to meet you?
Well, the first year or two was incredible because I had never been to any of the conventions, you know. So there was a lot of people. Really, a lot of people waiting for my autograph. I did a show over in Germany, and I saw them walk in. We were in this big, like, I guess it was like a convention hall or something, but it didn't have carpeting or anything. But I saw him walk in the door. It was a fellow and his wife, and they had a box in their hand. And they walked up to my table, and they set it down. They introduced themselves, and they said, "Hi, you know, great to meet you. Would you sign something for us?" And I said, "Yeah." And I looked down, and it was a 35 millimeter print of Dawn of the Dead.
Oh wow!
So I signed it, and they picked up the box, and they left.
Wow, that's cool.
It was really weird because that was the reason why they came to the convention, was to get me to sign their 35 millimeter print of Dawn of the Dead, and then they left, and I never saw them again.
Wow. Did you really? So you said you liked like zombie movies and stuff like that. Were you interested in horror movies? Like, what do you watch normally?
Well, I pretty much like science fiction movies. I'm not really that into horror. My wife Shade is really into horror movies, and that's how we met, actually.
Nice.
Yeah. She always liked the Hare Krishna zombie as a zombie. I was her favorite zombie.
Wow.
And when she lived up in Denver, when Dawn of the Dead came out, she convinced her friends to go see Dawn of the Dead. They went a couple times, and they dressed up like zombies. So this is early '80s. You know, nobody was dressing up like zombies back then, but she was really into it back then. And then we ended up doing I ended up doing a signing at a film festival in Tampa, and she was there, and she couldn't believe it. Hare Krishna Zombie was there, so we met. And we met again the next weekend at it was a screen test for this other project that we were both trying to get parts in. And it was weird because after never meeting each other, you know, for our whole lives, all of a sudden we met one weekend, then we met the following weekend. And she said, "What kind of horror movies do you like?" And I said, "Oh, I don't really like horror movies." She says, "You don't like horror movies? You're Hare Krishna Zombie?" I said, "No, I don't really like horror movies that much." She said, "Well, I have a couple hundred horror movies on DVD and VHS." She said, "Why don't you come over? We'll watch some of the more famous horror movies. So when you go to these conventions and you meet these other celebrities, you know what movies they were in, you know." But it's funny because I talk to a lot of other celebrities, and they don't like horror movies either.
That's funny.
And some of them never saw Dawn of the Dead.
Wow.
Yeah.
See, that must have been really cool for your wife. Also, you, I would imagine, but it'd be really neat to like watch somebody and be like, "Wow, you're my favorite person," and then marry that person. That can't happen a whole lot.
I know.
That's crazy.
Right.
So I love Dawn of the Dead, and I think that it's still in the top 100 movies of all time on IMDb, I believe. And I watched it again in preparation for the interviews and stuff, and I really like it. And I think that it's a very smart movie, and not all zombie movies are like that, you know, but Romero really sat down and thought about what really would actually happen if something like that were to take place. So I feel like it's like a thinking man's zombie movie, and I think it's really good. I think it's gonna. I mean, it already has stood the test of time, but I think, in 100 years, it will be exactly where it is now, if not even bigger.
Well, I think it's more than a horror movie. It's a prophecy.
Yeah.
Because as society continues to collapse, and it's really picking up speed. I feel the people that will be categorized as zombies are the people that can't think for themselves. I mean, they don't actually necessarily have to have a disease which causes them to literally eat people, but there's going to come a time when it's going to be obvious who the zombies are and who's the normal people.
Yeah,
I mean, it's the mentality and the things that are happening is just out of control. I mean, it's just totally out of control.
I completely agree. Like, I don't think there are that many normal people now. So
Right.
if it's worse, that will not be good. I agree with you completely. So I've been reading about you, and I read some about that you were doing the lasers and the lights and all that kind of stuff for like New Kids on the Block and stuff like that.
Yeah, I did almost 6 months on tour with New Kids on the Block around Thanksgiving of that year. It was probably early 90s, I think. It was their Hanging Tough tour. Yeah, when I went to electronic school, I had a synthesizer because I was in a band, and I ended up selling my synthesizer to the guy who was doing laser light shows at the Buell Planetarium, and he was from Denver, and he was looking for a backup operator because he had to do shows 6 or 7 nights a week, and he didn't have a night off. So since I was going to electronic school, I had electronics background, and I had synthesizers, and I was a musician, so I had a music background. And the whole concept of the laser projectors that were in the planetariums, there's this big panel full of knobs and dials and switches, and then a laser in a projector case, and a bunch of effects that would pop in and out in front of the laser beams. And there was a pre-programmed track on tape. We used a 4-track tape machine, 2 tracks of audio and 1 track of data. And the data would send signals into the laser projector, and it would activate certain little modules inside the projector that would do different things, and then the laser operator would interact with all the knobs and dials and switches on the front panel and this data that was coming in from the tape recorder. And like some of the data would move the beams out like that. Some of the other data would make the beams go like that, and it would just activate all this complex electronics in the projector that you couldn't activate on your own. It had to be activated from the data track. The data track was recorded in conjunction with the music, so when certain musical changes happened, certain data information changed, which would give a different variety of options to the guy that was running the knobs and dials and switches on the projector. It was real weird. I mean, there's nothing like it. So they had to pick and choose carefully people that were able to grasp the concept of these laser beams flying all over the place, and be careful, they don't hit the audience, and somebody that could repair the equipment whenever the equipment would break down, and somebody that could figure out all these knobs and dials and switches, and when you had to turn this knob to this number and turn this knob to this number. It was really crazy. I had a whole big stack of notes on the side, and would pre-program some oscillators to this number, and certain switches had to be turned to the left, and certain switches had to be turned to the right. And then once you got it together and you practiced with it, you could make it all repeat. You could make these really beautiful patterns that would happen on the dome of the planetarium with a star background, and it was repeatable night after night.
Wow.
Well, yeah, it was really incredible, and people would drive and go in there and watch the laser shows and stuff.
That they would.
Things were really cool back then.
Wow, that's so cool. See, I love all the stuff, after reading about you, I love a lot of the same stuff that you do. I'm an MC on Bourbon Street, actually, so I have my own shows every week, and I do acting and stuff like that, and I love technology stuff. So all the stuff you've been telling me about, I'm like, yeah, that's so cool. You write music too, also.
Yeah,
right?
I write music. I'm actually trying to get back into it. I got distracted for many years, and when I sit down, I like to come up with new sounds. I probably have about 40 songs started. They aren't anywhere near close to being completed, but I do have a Mike Christopher SoundCloud page, so you can hear my music there, and Reverb Nation too. I have Mike Christopher at Reverb Nation.
Is it just under Mike Christopher?
I think on SoundCloud it's Mike Christopher 777, and I don't know what the call sign is for the Reverb Nation one. Well, but if anybody has any trouble finding it, just get hold of me on Facebook,
Okay. What kind of music is it?
Mike Music.
Duet?
Mike Music.
Mike Music?
Hi, I'm Mike.
Mike. It's
electronic. It's electronic. I do it all. I do it all right here.
Ooh.
I've got
So,
a 6-core Mac.
Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
I've got a 6-core Mac and about $3,000 or $4,000 worth of software, and I just sit here and make music. I tried to do a soundtrack for a movie I was in. I was the lead actor in a movie called Joe Vampire.
Cool.
And I was hoping to get the soundtrack for the movie, but I got into some aggravating discussions with the producer and editor, and I ended up not being involved in the project after it was shot. It really didn't turn out as good as it could have. They cut out 30 minutes of the movie, and they used some really crap music for the movie. They told me they wanted the whole soundtrack in 2 weeks, and I said, "There's no way I'm going to write a complete soundtrack for a whole movie in 2 weeks. And they need more time." "No, you can't. You don't have any more time. It's 2 weeks." So I said, "That's it. I'm done."
That's not reasonable. You might as well just sit there and play it while you watch the movie at that point.
Well, it sounds like that's what they did, But if you go to my sound, I have a Vimeo page too, and on my Vimeo page is I got a whole bunch of shots from the movie Joe Vampire from the cinematographer Mike Nietzsche, and excellent cinematographer. But he got kind of burned on this whole thing. Sean Donahue was the producer, and he ended up just running off with the movie. He did a really bad edit of the movie. He cut 30 minutes out of it, used crappy music, and then he tacked on this really tacky ending for the movie that didn't have anything to do with the movie. He just wanted some blood shots. So.
See, it is hard to work with people sometimes.
Yeah.
I try to do as little with other people as I can. Like, if I can make a whole video by myself, then I do it. I have one guy that I work with, but other than that, it's really hard to find good people to work with,
Yeah, it really is.
So, in closing, what is your favorite movie that you are not in? one of them. Something that like speaks to you.
The Walking Dead.
Yeah?
Not one of my favorite movies, but I'm very annoyed that I wasn't in it.
Man, yeah. See, you know that they credit you guys for that show, right? Y'all are like their biggest. Dawn of the Dead is their biggest influence. They've said
Yeah, they couldn't bring none of us on. I mean, they could have brought me on in an orange bathroom.
Yeah, they should have. I would have had all of y'all in there. That would be full circle. So cool.
Yeah, but that's water under the dam. Actually, my favorite zombie movie is Colin, Colin. Mark Price, 2008.
I've never seen that.
I know a lot of people haven't seen it. It's great. It even went to a big film festival over in Europe, and they made it with under 100 pounds they spent on it. It was just it was kind of like Joe Vampire, where it was just guerrilla theater, and guerrilla movie making. Yeah, it was really cool. But as far as the stuff I like to watch is like Blade Runner. I like The Expanse. Did you ever watch The Expanse?
I haven't seen The Expanse. I love Blade Runner, and I really love the new Blade Runner.
Yeah, it was good. It was good. But check out The Expanse. It's I think it's 6 seasons it's on Netflix, or wait a minute, it's on Amazon Prime.
Cool. Okay.
It started out on Sci-Fi, the Sci-Fi channel, and then the budget got too big, and they almost canceled it, and then Prime bought it. But the costuming, excellent. The story, unbelievable. The alien is the most unique alien that you've never seen.
I'm in. You already said Alien, so that I'm done. I'm in.
I've watched it 4 times already, and I'm thinking about watching it again.
Yeah.
It's that good. And I never watch stuff over again. I mean, I see a couple extra episodes here and there of The Walking Dead. My wife turns it on sometimes, and it just runs, you just jump in at some point and you watch a couple episodes, And I've seen that, but The Expanse, I watched it front to back 4 times. It's really it's just that good. The characters are incredibly believable, and everything's different, and the costuming is unbelievable, and I just can't say enough good things about it. The Expanse.
Wow. Okay. I'm going to check it out. That sounds far up my alley.
And Colin. And Colin, too.
And Colin? I'll check it out.
The zombie movie. Mark Price, 2008. Actually, I talked to Mark, and he said that when he saw the Hare Krishna zombie in Dawn of the Dead, he started wondering, what would it be like for somebody who's just starting to turn into a zombie? And Colin is a guy over in the UK, and he goes through a transformation into a zombie. But it takes quite a while, and so you get to see different phases of what goes on and what he was thinking as he was turning into a zombie, and his interactions with other people and stuff. It's really good. Really good.
Yeah, I like that concept, because I'm kind of like a hypochondriac, not super bad, but kind of bad. I probably think I'm dying way more than I am. So movies like that really freak me out, because I'd be like, there's something wrong with me. What's wrong with me? So, yeah, those type of movies freak me out.
Mark did a space movie, too, that was really good. I can't think of the name of it, but check him out. He's a good filmmaker.
I will. Well, thank you very much for talking to me. I really enjoyed it, and I like you. I think you're a good guy. I like hearing what you have to say. I think that I agree with you about a lot of the stuff that you think. I also think so. It's very nice to talk to you, and I appreciate it.
Oh, great! Thanks for having me, and keep in touch, huh?
All right, buddy. Thank you. I'll talk to you soon.
Sure, we can do it again.
Okay. Thank you. All right. Bye-bye.
All right. Bye now.
First thing, shout out to my new sponsor, Ramicus.com. Go to their website and see the brand new MC Popsicle shop. There's official MC Popsicle merchandise, shirts, hoodies, phone cases, posters, anything you can imagine, and it's all there now, so go! Also, check out my brand new handmade MC Popsicle logo rug. I absolutely love it. It was made for me by my new sponsor, Step On It Rugs. Make sure to follow them. They do amazing work. Another thing I wanted to talk to you about was the Toy Stash. Follow them on Instagram. They just sent me this Leatherface figure, this Predator figure, and the Toxic Avenger figure. They specialize in like super vintage toys, so if there was something you played with when you were a little kid and you can't find it anymore, they probably have it like in the box. So go follow the Toy Stash on Instagram or Facebook. They are incredible. Check out all this stuff. Make sure to follow them, guys. You'll love it. If you like the shirt that I'm wearing, make sure to go to getonboardman.com and order a shirt. They have all kinds of amazing wearable art. And make sure to follow Designs by Galarza. They made that cool custom popsicle hat that I was wearing a second ago. And they can make you your own custom merchandise, so make sure to hit them up. Also, shout out to my shoe sponsor, Solsfing. They make amazing future sneakers that are just bananas. Please follow them on Instagram. You will love their selection. Also, if you like the hat I was wearing in this episode, it was given to me by the Old Hat Shop on Instagram. Hit them up. They specialize in vintage hats. You can have a brand new hat from the 90s. And if you're thinking, hey, I want those sunglasses, and I want the sunglasses you wear in your movie Popsicle World, make sure to hit up Filthy Shades. Also, if you live on the Gulf Coast and need help with your pool or hot tub, hit up Emerald Coast Pools. They can fix everything and get you swimming again before you can say Baba Booey.